This is Beyond Business. Witness the real lives of Cranbrook's female entrepreneurs as they candidly tell their stories, their experiences, and their struggles in raw, revealing conversations. Today I am here with Shayla Ferrantino. She is a woman who has been in the health and fitness business for over a decade, and recently she's expanded into a brick and mortar. Hi!
Hello!
Shay, I'm so glad that you are here.
I'm excited to be here. Again, full circle moment. We kind of chatted about this a little while ago, and now here we are sitting together at this table and making it happen. So I'm excited to be here. Thank you. Honored.
My guest, Shay, started out in entrepreneurship about 11 years ago, and she started off in network marketing in the health and fitness world. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know Shay that well, but one of the things that I've noticed, because she was in network marketing for over a decade, and because we're in the same community, I definitely seen her stuff come up on socials. And when I would see your stuff come up, the thing that would always stand out to me is that you were unapologetically yourself. And that is a very tricky thing to do in the online world, because you're putting yourself out there knowing that everybody is going to have an opinion, and not just about what you're doing, but how you look and how you're coming across, and whether or not you should even have a point, or whether you should even be allowed to take up that space. And that is one of the things that inspires me about you, is that even in that phase, you were who you are. And you brought this genuine joy, which I think is contagious, which I realized because a very close friend of mine said, you have to come out to this girl's class. And I was like, okay. And she told me all about your dance classes. And so I think it was about maybe a year ago that I came, and you weren't in your own space at that time. And I came to this class, and I remember leaving feeling like, oh, Shay is exactly how she seems online. She's upbeat, and she's carefree, and she is a lot of fun. Now, the other piece about that, which I've been learning as I've been getting to know you lately, is that you also have this incredible drive. And underneath all of that joy and excitement for life, there's a real intensity about you. You go for it.
Yeah.
And you kind of throw everything to the side and push. And I really appreciate that tenacity that you have for your work.
Thank you.
So this is Shayla Ferrantino. Welcome to Beyond Business.
Thank you. I'm excited. It's so funny to hear as someone else speaking back like that. And I'm like, oh, that was me. Like, that was so lovely. So thank you for those words. That honestly could be the most beautiful compliment ever, is just, you are who you say you were online. That was all I ever wanted, was to be authentically myself. And we'll get obviously more into that. But yeah, that was a beautiful compliment. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. So let's start. So 11 years ago, a decade ago, there you are, you're at home, and you get this big idea.
Yeah. So
talk to me about how you started.
Yeah, I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't get into the entrepreneurship world on purpose. It kind of fell in my lap, and I was clearly just open-minded to the opportunity, right? Such as you need to be as an entrepreneur to see the bigger picture and a lot of opportunities that come. But for me, I was this new mom of two, and just really in the early stages with my husband, who I'm still with now today, Tyler, and getting to know each other still. Like, we had Caden right away. And so our life, we met and we continued building our family. And so in the midst of all of that, I really lost myself after having Caden. And I was into really toxic habits, such as just unhealthy, right? Like alcohol and smoking. I'm okay with sharing all this stuff as long as it's good here. We're open here. But it was just a really unhealthy lifestyle, and it was starting to do more and more damage. And so I was like, I need to take control of my life. I need to get my life together. You know, I come from a long line of family history of alcohol and not that I ever gotten into drugs, but drug abuse and all of these different things. And I just felt like I was spiraling and I was starting to walk down that path. So I started an at-home health and fitness program on DVD because we didn't have streaming then. And I got to work. And it was the first time in my life when I remember finishing this program. It was 25 minutes a day. It was the hardest thing I ever done in my whole life. I never had exercised. But when I finished that, for the first time in my life, I had self-belief. I was like, holy man, I can really do things I set my mind to, because that wasn't the narrative I had for my childhood growing up. So that sparked that. And then there was like this opportunity to earn an income helping other women feel as good as I was feeling. And I didn't have to be at a goal weight. I was certainly not where I wanted to be. I had a lot of work to do mentally and emotionally. And when I saw the opportunity to create an income and an impact, I was like, I got to try this thing. But when you're working on yourself, right? Like you're saying, you're online and you're authentically you. Well, that was my number one job as an entrepreneur in the network marketing world for what I did with Body, was take care of me, number one.
Well, and I think because that was your focus, because when you came into this business, into this entrepreneurship, it wasn't about building a business. It was about, I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you came in wanting to be well.
Yes.
And so you started this journey towards health and fitness and reaped the rewards quickly.
Yeah.
Right? Like, wow, I'm feeling better.
Yeah.
And it sounds like probably better than you had been feeling in a long time.
The best I had ever felt.
So
it opened a whole new, like I said, a narrative for me of like, I can do hard things. I am built to do hard things. Like, I'm not a victim in my circumstances. And it broke a barrier. I feel like I just kept myself in this safe little bubble for so long. It was like, you are who you are, and you are how your past defined you, and this is how your future will look, and that's inevitable, generational, right? But no. Well, I quickly learned that's not the case at all, right? Like, I can help people. I can help other people find themselves. And so that became the addiction more than anything. Yeah.
Well, can we just acknowledge for a second what that transformation meant? Because there are a lot of people who don't have that moment where the barriers break and you realize that you can be more than what you thought you were going to be. Like, that's huge. And to get that at that stage in your life, like you were young and you had a young family.
Yeah.
So no wonder you were able to attack your business with so much tenacity and energy. Yeah. Because, right? Like
this newfound energy. I was like, oh, I feel so good.
Like the world opened up.
Yeah.
And you could step into.
And everyone needed to feel the way that I felt. And when I started my business, like my mentor at the time, she was literally like, here's the business tools. Here's kind of how it operates. This is kind of what this means. Do what you will with it. And I was doing things that I didn't even know until I was announced for all these things, or recognition or accolades. Like all of that came and I was like, what does this mean? What is that? And it's like, you help this many people, or, you know, you've built a team like this and they're helping people. And it's like this whole ripple effect. And all of a sudden I was like, this is what I was meant to do. For sure.
And that came later. Or was it like a slow burn? Like you knew you were on the right path, but then it like really sunk in when you recognized the success?
I think more it was when people were coming to me and saying, help me. Like people were coming to me and being like, how did you do it? I want to feel how you feel. And I was like, I never thought anyone would want how I felt, because it wasn't very good for a long time. For my whole life, I was lost and confused and not really sure my place in the world. And like, even as an entrepreneur, like I said, I never knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. You know, when we were in school, we were asked, do you want to be X, Y, Z?
Yeah.
And none of that ever felt good for me. And I was labeled as just non-ambitious, or she has no, like, confused about her future. And that was like wrong. Right. And I was forced to see guidance counselors to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. This, or this, or this. Like, what is it? And I thought there was something wrong with me. I'm like, why don't I have a drive like everybody else? I don't want to go to post-secondary. I don't feel this pull to do those things. And so I just felt broken. I felt like, how am I supposed to be successful in life? And so fast forward into, like, all of a sudden, here I am, and I'm building this business so naturally, and it's just coming to me because I'm so in love with something, and I was earning an income and contributing to my family. I was like, oh, that's why in high school I was like, I don't want to do those things. Like, don't force me to do those things. It doesn't feel good, because I was meant to be an entrepreneur. Yeah. I was meant to do something different, life differently, my way.
Well, and it's funny that you bring that up, because oftentimes those people in those situations that are trying to guide the youth in these directions, like, there's so much pressure that comes with that, and we don't always know what is out there, because a lot of times those people are not entrepreneurs.
Totally.
It's not even something that they've even considered. Well, and it's amazing that you fell into this and found your rhythm.
Yeah.
And that it was relatively easy.
Like, I mean, obviously, if you're an entrepreneur, you're like, nothing's easy in entrepreneur world. No, it's not. There's sweat equity. There's, I
don't mean that it was easy in the work. I meant the calling piece was easy. Like, knowing that you were going to do this and that you were going to be good at it, and that you were built for it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And because the focus was so much of taking care of myself, mind, body, soul, emotion, it opened up the world of healing, and it opened up the doors of therapy, and it opened up the doors of, like, ownership, really. Like, I never knew I would be such a self-aware human. Who would have known? I was so chaotic in my adolescence, like, such as so many of us are, but mine was coming from a suppressed childhood, right? So healing all these layers too. And I mean, I've been on this journey for 11 years. I'm still very in the thick now of healing some wounds that have just opened up again, right? So the work is never over, but I fell in love with the foundation of me. Like, I get to be my own business, who I am. And so that's, I guess, the part that I fell in love with the most. Yeah.
Well, and when you were saying ownership, were you talking about being in ownership of your life, or more so your business? Like, because it sound like, I'm like, oh, it could go either way.
Yeah,
like,
either way. I think, well, because too, I grew up so much of, I was the victim. I was how I was because my dad, or I am who I am because of my mother, or it was never like, okay, Shay, it doesn't have to be this way. Can we step back, pull back the curtains a little bit and take a little bit of ownership that the decisions that you are making are indeed your decisions. Like, no one's making them for you. The way that you're feeling, you feel that way because of the decisions and the choices that you're making. So in that sense of just, like, really taking a step back and being like, you can create the life that you want to live. You really, really can, no matter where you came from.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the things that I love about your story, because I think even though you were unapologetically yourself online, but people don't necessarily know where you came from.
Yeah.
And they don't know what's underneath that contagious smile and that joy. They don't understand that there's depth to who you are, because that isn't the type of stuff that you necessarily share in a quick post or a short reel.
Right. How can you, right? When there's so many layers to you. I mean, all of us as human beings, we all have layers. We all have stories. If you dig enough, a lot of things will make sense, right? But
yeah. So can you share with us a little bit about what you had to transform to get where you are?
Yeah.
Because we all have a history. We all have experiences, and the way that we go through life shapes where we're going to be in the future and how we get to places. But it seems like it was such a transformation for you when you got into the health and wellness business. So I'm wondering if you can share a bit about what life was like that prior.
Yeah, so it's so funny. There was somewhere along the lines, and such as childhood, this happens. But I remember myself as a little girl exactly who I am today. Like, I was the one putting on the performances for my dad, camping, out in the bush. Like, everything that my life is now, and my energy and my passion and the drive I have, that was me as a little girl. So there was somewhere along the line, obviously, when events happen and tragedy and all that kind of stuff happens, like, you do begin to kind of lose yourself. And so for me, prior to health and fitness, I felt like, because a lot of the generational stuff was coming with me, right? So my mindset was, it was how it was. Things are going to happen to me because they're happening to me. And I mean, that's how my mom always spoke, right? The rich get richer, the poor are poor. Like, that's just how I grew up. And so that narrative stuck with me. And as I got older, I felt clouded. I felt, what's the word? I felt clouded. I had no idea who I was for a long time. Like, I kind of lost myself through a period of time. I became a really young mom before Tyler and I had Caden. I had my firstborn, Carter, who's now going to be 16. Wild. Like, I have a 16-year-old. I don't even understand how that happened. So becoming a mom right out of high school as well, and being a single mom, obviously later on, again, you're losing I had lost myself, and I wasn't healthy, and I was making all these choices. So but before all of this, I just felt like, I remember so many days being like, this can't be the way that I live my life. This just can't be, this isn't it. This can't just be it. You get one life. And there always felt like, and I've said this to my husband, even from the day that I met Tyler, I always said, I feel like there's more for me. I always knew that there was more, but then it made me sad because I didn't have, I guess, maybe the tools to see the bigger picture, or to kind of self-reflect and say, hey, it doesn't have to be this way. So it wasn't until the tools of Body, the network marketing, that was like, hey, you got to take care of yourself. I was forced to do that. Then I was like, oh man, this all makes sense to me.
Sometimes I think that it's not just not having the tools. Sometimes we have the tools, but it's not time.
100%. I was going to say that too. You know what? Also, I think time. I needed the time to feel what I felt. I had to walk through the things that I walked through leading up to get me to the moment where I felt ready.
Well, and there's this piece about, because of that feeling like a victim, and that your future was written for you already, and that you couldn't change things, because of the feeling of not being well, and then knowing that that can change, that is an incredible marketing tool, because you're not alone.
100%.
You're not alone in feeling like your future is written, and that you're a victim. And so when you change that narrative, other people hear that, or even if you don't even say it, they sense it.
Yeah.
And then it's inspiring, which leads other people to want that, which is like, it makes sense to me that people were calling you and saying, I need help.
Yeah.
And you are the person that I see that can help me. And how amazing is that?
That feels good. Yeah. And like, I've always said that to, whether it be my wellness clients or the women that I've mentored in online network marketing businesses. Like, I've always said to them, look, if I can do it, you can do it. You can do it. I started all of this with nothing. I never worked out a day in my life. I never ate vegetables. I didn't even drink water, you guys. Like, if you knew me in high school and then found out that Shay was going to be an online health and wellness coach, you would think that was insane, because how could this person that they knew before be that person, right? But again, if you want something and you're ready for change and it is the time, you will blow your mind. You will blow your own mind.
So tell me when you started to lose the magic for network marketing.
Yeah, so...
Because there's been a shift there.
There's been a big shift.
This is not what you were doing now.
Never talked about this before, by the way. It's crazy. I feel like since opening our fitness studio here in Cranbrook, it's been grief. I've been feeling grief. I've been confused. I've been, again, clouded. I feel like I'm kind of back at square one of like, where do I go from here? But it was actually in 2022. I started to feel, at the time, I didn't know what it was, but at the time I started to feel really paralyzed. Anything that I wanted to go online to share, I couldn't get myself to post it. I started to feel really sad. I started to feel burnout. Again, we also were walking through a pandemic. Take into consideration.
You weren't the only one feeling those things.
And in that pandemic, everybody was online. Everybody was online. Everybody was talking about all of the things that were happening. And I was such a person that I was online, but I wasn't online. Well, I was very good at, I didn't scroll. I didn't do social media to read what everybody else was doing in life. I was there to work. So then all of a sudden, now my feed is being flustered with negativity or controversial things. And so I just felt like in that first 2022 is when I felt like I got to get offline for a little bit. Like I just need to reset. And then turn of events, my mental health took a toll. I hit a really, really bad depression. We lost my dog, Doug, who was with me before my firstborn son. So then that happened. And it was one thing after another. And then the business started to slowly, obviously, like take a back burner. And so at that point, I felt like I was back against the wall. Like, what am I going to do? I'm in a bad place. But luckily, again, I was in training for that moment.
Yes.
For 9 years. Like that's what my job was for 9 years. So I took the time. I took a step back. I took time to figure out what this all was meaning for me. And these feelings that were coming up, again, I'm in this healing process. It's been, that was 2022. Now it's 2 years later. And I'm still very much walking through how all of that started a few years ago. Like I'm not sitting here saying I'm on the other side yet. We're still walking through some of that suppressed childhood stuff that's coming up. But I felt like, it was just time to try something new.
Well, and
I just needed to expand. I needed to expand. And it's not that I don't even have the business. I still have a beautiful online business with a community of women who are still showing up, that message me when they need me. I still have people messaging like, do you still do at home? Because I don't do studios or at group classes and I prefer to be at home. Let me help you out. Like, it's not that I don't have it. I'm nurturing it right now.
Yeah.
To kind of see where it goes. I don't know what that future will look like, but I needed to expand. I needed to shake my world a little bit. Maybe it got a little too comfortable for me even.
Well, and there's a piece there too about, like you mentioned, grief, but when you're online and all of a sudden everybody's online all day long and there's all that negativity, it gets directed toward you. And even though I think a lot of times people post stuff, it's not necessarily you that they're targeting, right? Like they're feeling angry or frustrated, but you still experience it personally.
Yes.
If you're the target of that.
Right. And when you're someone who's coming on and giving your personal, like, again, I wasn't a professional. I wasn't a therapist. I'm not a therapist. I speak from personal experience, and through that, hopefully help others and teach others, right? And maybe what they hear from my story, they can use and it will help their life too. But in that circumstance, like you said, what was the right thing to say in a time like that? I felt like nothing I could have said could have made anyone feel better at that point, right? And it was a hard time for everybody. People were sad, and it was like, how can I show up and be so happy? Like there was a lot of emotions tied to that. And traumatic, I feel like, for a lot of people who worked in the online industry. I've heard like PTSD. It's real.
Yes.
We're all now having to heal through that. And
you're so open and vulnerable when you're online.
Yes.
Like even though there's a screen there, it's still you.
Yeah.
Like it's your story, it's your emotion, it's your family, it's your life. And when you get personally attacked or berated or just people spewing stuff that's not even necessarily directed at you, it it really takes a toll.
Yeah, totally.
And I'm sure that felt the opposite of what you were there to do.
For sure, for sure. And it's crazy because internet trolls exist. And I've
Yes.
had a few on my day. Like, that is like, and it's because the work that I did was on myself and my mind and my confidence. And like, sure that it would sting once in a while when you had the odd person have their own opinion on your social media about you. But there's something about the pandemic where the whole world was falling apart that it was like, eventually you just kind of started to fall apart with them. Like it was, yeah.
What I love in hearing you talk about this is how you took that experience of going through 10 years of coaching women who felt defeated, who felt not right in their own skin, how you were able to step back and put that back into practice.
Yeah, I was like, and I knew when body was sort of, I don't even know the word. It was a force. It was a force of like, stop right now. Stop and just take a second. But in that moment of what am I going to do with my life if this isn't here full time for me? I still knew you're going to help people. Yeah. And you're still going to be in the wellness industry and you're still going to be using your heart and your mindset forefront. Like that was number one for me. And I knew that. So I wasn't sure what was next, but I knew it was in the lines of helping other women still. I still wanted to be that hype girl, that wing girl.
Well, and going through that early transformation that led you to business to begin with, when you've gone through an experience like that, it doesn't go away.
No. And it continues. Like,
yes,
we're ever
fuel.
evolving, right? So the work, again, I've said this, but the work is never done. And who you are yesterday, you're not today. When you wake up, you're a different person based on the experiences that you experienced yesterday. So I find that fascinating. I do. I find it fascinating that we can take our experiences, we can take where we are and literally direct where we want to go. We really can.
So tell me about the transformation. So you're grieving your online network marketing.
Yes, my whole world's falling apart. What am I going to do with my life? Like,
how did you get from that to having Ignite Health in Cranbrook?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so in the midst of all of losing myself through the grief and all of the things, I had to do something. And I was scrolling Instagram one day and this vibrant, bodacious blonde is on there and she's dancing and it's fitness and she has an energy that I'm like, that's, oh my gosh, is this woman me? Like,
you can see your future self.
Yes, like I was like, wow. And she's dancing. I've danced, not professionally, but I've danced my whole life. I love it. Again, when I was a little girl, like I was a performer. I was Britney Spears. And that never went away. I did it up until I had my kids. I would go with women and go dancing on a Monday night at the studio. Like there was just things that I still always had it. So there's this woman and I start following her and it's called Turn Up Dance Fitness and it's her program. She's created it. And I started following her and I became like obsessed with this life. I was like, I want to do that. I want to bring Turn Up Dance Fitness here. And I want to dance again. Like I want to work on my skill of dancing. That's where I'm going to put my time and my grief and all of the things. That's what I want to do. So I got certified. I was like, screw it. I've never even done a class. I'm going to get certified for this thing and see how it goes. What do I have to lose? Right? I'm sad. Like I just need to do something that makes me feel like me again. And so I did that and I fell so in love. Like I couldn't wait to bring it to Cranbrook immediately. And so I started renting the community Cranbrook Theater. I loved that the money that was for renting went to the performing arts. I was giving back to the community. So I had that sense of feeling of like, ooh, it's a little bit feels like businessy in our hometown. And that was a different feeling for me. I'm like, I get to bring impact here with people that I see regularly. Like this is different. And so I started Turn Up Tuesdays at that theater. And it started to grow and grow and grow. And the women were coming to me and being like, I feel so confident and sexy and I've never felt so expressive and even my husband's noticing and I was like,
This
ding,
is
ding, 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 ding. Yeah, something special here. And then so I actually, and I'm leaving next month, but I was asked to MC. So in the entrepreneur world, when you're online, what's really cool is there's a lot of collaboration.
Yes.
Right? When you're online, people are following you. They know like, oh, hey, that girl once. So anyways, I had my girlfriend reach out to me, and she was putting on her first ever As She Rises live event in Calgary for women entrepreneurs. And she's like, I want you to be the MC. I'm like, that is my jam. I love it. I want to do it. Thank you for this opportunity. I was in a really dark place. And I was like, this is perfect. Great. Gives me something to focus on. So I go to Calgary, do the event. And that's when everything changed. I was around different types of humans who did things that I was like, you built a business doing what? Amazing. But because of passion and love. And that's when I came home and I was like, okay, let's get out of the Cranbrook Community Theater. I've been manifesting a studio. Like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So that's where the whole idea came from. And then when I met my business partner, she was not into it. She was like, I already have businesses in town. And I needed a partner at that time. Like, I could not do it on my own.
Yeah.
In all the ways. Right. And so she took a step back, and I continued looking. I was with a realtor. I looked for spaces, the perfect space. And then she finally came back and was like, I'm not doing one of these businesses in Cranbrook anymore, and I'd love to partner with you. And so we had a studio open in 3 months, 2.5 months.
From that conversation.
From that conversation at Hot Shots, that was 3.5 hours long because we were like soul humans. From there, I was the creative, innovative, and she was the one that's done business and knows the logistics of it and how to get it started. And we put our skills together, and here we go. We've got Ignite Health Cranbrook. So now I've got a brick and mortar business as well. So yeah.
That's amazing that it
Crazy.
happened that fast, and that you
Yeah,
found
fast.
somebody to partner with.
Yes.
Because there's a lot more investment that goes into having brick and mortar, right?
Yeah.
It's not the same thing that you need when you start a network marketing.
Yes. And when we've talked about this in two different ways of like, one, you don't want to be married. Like, I mean, maybe you want to be married to your business. I don't want to be married to my business. My family comes first. There are priorities that come before business. Business is my love and my passion, but there are other important things. But I just found that having a business partner also, like, it gives you that flexibility also, and you learn from each other, and the things that I would never think of, like she'll come up with, or I'll say things that she would have never in a million years would have thought to bring to the studio. And so together we create something that I couldn't have done on my own at all.
Well, and there's the piece too that the ball doesn't drop just with you. There's somebody
It
else
takes a
there
team.
that can catch it.
Yeah.
If the ball's dropping. And I think when you're in your own business and it always comes back to you, which you kind of had with network marketing. I mean, it's a little bit different because of like you said, the collaborations and the business model.
Totally.
But it feels really different if you don't have that support, right?
Yeah.
It's nice to have somebody to throw ideas around with and know that you're in it together.
For sure. And to find somebody who's in it at the level that you're in, right? That was one thing with network marketing. When it came to having business partners, I found that difficult sometimes because I am somebody who's like, okay, we have an idea, we feel good, and it's feeling really good in my gut and my heart. Like, we're doing it. Not everybody's like that,
No.
right? And so for me to find my people in network marketing, I did find it a lot harder than in human, where you can interact, you have that spark right away, or you don't.
Yeah.
And it just fits or it doesn't, right? And so that difference too has been really cool. Meeting people in person and being like, whoo, you feel that right away. Whereas network marketing, it takes a little bit longer, right? You got to go through a lot of people to find your people, and that's fine, but it's different.
So with your business partner, did you know right away that this partnership could work? And then were you kind of like, what do you mean you don't want to do business with me right now? Like, I thought we were gelling.
It's funny. Someone actually sent her to me. Somebody else that I had originally wanted to go into business with, and she was like, this just isn't the time for me, which I so appreciated the honesty. And so I was back to the drawing board of like, okay, who else do I want to collaborate with? And I didn't know. I mean, like you had mentioned with this podcast and how you're allowing other entrepreneurs in Cranbrook to find each other too. Like, that's such a great thing, because I didn't realize that, hey, Cranbrook's full of really smart, brilliant, skillful, ambitious women. But you got to get out there and you got to ask around. And so that's what I started doing. hey, do you know anyone? Like, and then, yeah, one of my girlfriends who is an instructor now, she's like, yeah, Karina Robinson, reach out to her, blah, blah, blah. And so when I did at that time, again, her plate was full. She was like, we've got businesses, but I love your idea. And she loves fitness. She loves health and wellness. She's like, I'm inspired by her. Like, she's a beast. She's so great and so strong and so, like, just knows herself and what she wants in life. And so I was a little sad at first. I'm like, what? This could be so great, but oh well. C'est la vie, like, what's going to be will be. And then when she got back to me, it wasn't long after. It did not take long. She was like, all right, I got this person, this person, this person. I've got like this business plan, and because that's who she is. And I was like, great, I've got the aesthetics and the creativeness and the ideas that we could bring. And we met again, and it was just like, boom, we were building Ignite. Quick.
And it was fast then.
Fast. And I was like, oh, this is my person. And yeah, we are cut from the same cloth. It's wild.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny that initially you had that feeling and then it didn't happen.
I know. Like,
that
what
would
do you
have
mean,
been
intuition? You are usually right. Like, what happened? But it wasn't time.
Yeah, it comes
wasn't
back to
time.
that piece we were talking about, that
Yeah.
sometimes you have the tools, but it's just not time yet.
Yeah.
And like waiting it out.
Yep. And in the events that happened from the time that we had said yes, and then that, like, life happened for me. A lot of hard things have happened since that.
Since
right?
you've been working together.
Yeah. Yeah. I've endured some of the most challenging personal life things from, I would say, Christmas until just a couple of months ago. Yeah. And so,
Did you want to share any of those things?
So-
Are you feeling and or not? Like,
so, well, one of the things that had happened, so in November, it was actually one of the last classes, not the last, one of the last classes I was teaching at the community theater. And I got a text message that day that my youngest cousin had a cardiac arrest. And she is a sibling to me. She's my younger baby sister. My auntie and uncle helped raise me. I lived with them while my mom was away often. And so that happened, and she passed away on November 27th. And so
nothing stops your
Nothing's-
life. Like,
yeah, and life doesn't stop. Here we are. We've got this brand new studio that she and I and our families are renovating, doing all of the work, night and day. Christmas is coming.
you've put
And
your
now I've lost the
finances
most
into
important
this. Yeah.
person in my life is gone. And so that in itself was a very almost confusing time, because I was so excited about what was happening in my life, yet so sad. And so that was one of the things. And then, of course, being a teenage mom and co-parenting, there was a lot of things that had happened there too. And so it was just it was a lot of things, and it all happened so quickly and so out of the blue that it was just like, now I'm trying to take a grasp on getting this business open and learning a brick and mortar, by the way. Like, this isn't network marketing. It is not the same. It did not come naturally to me like network marketing did after a decade. Like, this was like a whole new ballpark for me, a whole new avenue. But then yet my life was falling apart. So it was wild. But again, timing, I got to take out all my frustration, and I'd go to the studio and I'd knock out some walls, and like, I used that to get myself through what we were walking through as a family. So
you were able to take this business venture as a way to fuel your energy, and it sounds like that was a bit healing.
it was. And it
Or
was the
even
healing I
maybe
needed
a bit
at that time.
maybe a bit distracting.
Distracting. That's the word. Distracting. The healing, I feel, is now happening. That's, I've reached out to more therapists, and I know we talked about this. Like, it's time to go back, and that there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But now it's time to do the healing of what just happened, because it happened in a time where I was very distracted.
Well, and sometimes that works really well. Well,
Yeah.
like, I want to say most of the time, repression is our friend.
Right.
Like, if we can just push down what's going on so that we can keep surviving to a place where all of a sudden it's safe again.
Yes.
And then we can open that up.
Yes.
And be like, okay, now I can draw back the curtain a little bit.
100%.
Because sometimes in the moment, it's like if you really looked behind the curtain, you wouldn't be able to get out of bed.
Yeah,
Or you wouldn't be able to make it through the day.
I said
or
that to my business partner all the time. I'd show up and day by day, how are you today? And I could either walk in okay, or I'd walk in a freaking mess. And that was just it, though. Like, she's put it in there. And now when I walk into Ignite, it's like a whole, like, no one will ever understand how it feels to walk in there, because in the darkest moments of, I would say probably some of the darkest moments of my life, something so beautiful came to fruition. And so when I walk in there, it's almost this sense of like,
I can breathe.
And it's safe here. It was my happy place through the hardest times. And so now I feel that when I walk in there. So that's pretty special.
I wonder if when the people are coming to do your class, if they pick up on that feeling in there.
Energy is contagious.
You know, that this is a haven, that this is a place where you get to leave whatever is going on in your life at the door, and you just get to come and sweat it out.
And that's the message.
Yeah.
When people walk through those doors, I say that all the time. I know that things can be hard, but we're here now, and this is for you. This is your safe space.
Yeah.
And so
you've carved out this hour, so let's use it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So healing.
So healing.
To be able, like fitness. Fitness is so healing.
It is movement.
Yeah. And being able to have an outlet for that grief and that heaviness. That's amazing.
Well, because when that's like you said, outlet, we always, as humans, we find outlets. That's what we do. It's natural. That's what we do. And for so long in my life, the outlets were not healthy outlets, right? And so it's neat. It's neat to see the ripple effect of humans in my life here, not online, but here too, where it's like, you get it. See, this is so cool. Like, full circle moment. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So you've been in the business has been open now for like half a year.
Yeah, we opened February 6th.
So how is it going?
So good. It's so cool. It's so cool. I love all of it. I love the sweat equity of a brick and mortar. I love the challenges that it brings. I love the rewards of getting through the challenges that it brings. I mean, I've said this for as long as if anyone is with me on social media. I love challenges. I love it because it breaks me open and makes me think differently, which makes me move differently in my life, and then new opportunities come. But it's been unbelievable to see the way that the community has reacted here. And it's everything that I ever wanted online, but in real life now too. It's like the best of both worlds.
So what is it that you're talking about? Like everything you've wanted? What do you mean?
Community, a sense of people coming somewhere and feeling genuinely safe in a place where it's like, I can be me, I can be my worst, I can be my best here. No one's judging me here. They see me for who I am, and I'm so supported here. Like, for people to come in here and say that, or come to my classes and say, gosh, I feel so seen by you. I'm like, that's the mission. Like, that's the goal.
I'm doing my life's work.
Yeah, like, this is what I'm here to do. Don't you know? But to feel it in person, it's different.
Yes.
It's different. I mean, obviously network marketing, I traveled a lot, which was one thing that I loved about that lifestyle that I do miss a lot. And foresee in the future when this is a little more stable and I can leave more often.
Do you mean you traveled for work with network?
Yes.
Or
lots.
that you were just traveling because you had resources because of...
Well, both. I guess. Yeah, both. We had annual conferences that we'd go to, quarterly trainings that you could go to if you wanted to. And then, I mean, I sat in rooms and learned in person from Brendan Bouchard and Rachel Hollis and some of the greatest personal development people out there, right, that have changed my life. So I've seen some great things and I've traveled and done amazing things. But one of the best parts about the events and getting to those things is being there with the people that you work with online. You get to feel that. You get to... it almost didn't feel real. Like, one of my bestest friends in the whole world, I've met in person 3 times.
Right.
But we're best friends. And so when I see her, I'm always like, can I touch you? Like, this is
Are you real?
But yet we're such... I talk to her every single day. She's from Virginia. Jay Slush, if you're listening. Yeah. Crazy. So... But to have it here now, I'm like, and they're here all the time, and I get to see them come to class multiple times a week. I'm like, oh, it's so fun.
Well, and you have your instructors. So you have the people that you're working with, you're seeing and interacting with them.
Who are like-minded and carry the same values and just, collaborative and camaraderie, and they have the same level of passion for movement as I do. And it doesn't feel like work when we're together.
That's the best part.
Yeah.
When work doesn't feel like work.
Yeah. I know. Like, we literally work out for our jobs, and we get to bring that to people. Like, it's, to me, I mean, not for everybody, but for me, like, that's the coolest thing ever.
Now tell me about the sacrifices.
Yeah.
Because a startup is an incredible sacrifice.
Yes.
And you've talked to me about what it gave you. But what does it cost you?
Yeah. So I'm learning that I'm not the Energizer Bunny. I have to rest. And obviously that's a part of my online wellness business. I knew that. I know you need to rest when you need to rest. But I mean, owning a brick and mortar and you need to be there. It requires a different physicality of you. Like you are really on call all the time. You need to be all the places, and you're giving your energy to real humans in real life, not behind a screen. And so that in itself, that like, I feel more tired than usual. And I don't like to use that narrative because I'm like, I age young and like I'm full of life, but yeah, your girl's tired sometimes. So the sacrifice of just like really having to take care of yourself on a different level. Like I've had to now like really add layers onto how I take care of myself because I'm not at home flexible.
Yes.
Doing the things, putting myself first as my number one job. That's not it anymore, right? And I also have 2 teenagers, a teenager and a preteen. So that in itself too. But I think too, finding trust in myself. I know it's not sacrifice, but like, again, those little things that you don't realize, you need to really have a lot more trust. Like, it's not as much in my hands as other things that I've done. And so that too, of just my confidence, I've had to build it a different way. It's a different kind of confidence. But in terms of sacrificing, again, because I didn't just get into a business here and just open up a business, I did learn boundaries of building a business and having family time and all of these things. Obviously, financially, the sacrifice is a lot bigger when you own a brick and mortar.
It is.
So our savings, like you put your savings, you put your whole trust and love and life into something, right? And so that in itself, definitely financially, it's looked a lot different. Online network marketing, you've got your passive income and you have more control over it when you're doing sales and stuff like that. Brick and mortar, you've invested before you're seeing it returned right away. So that too, right? Like the sacrifice of financially, you're giving out a lot more.
Does it feel risky? Or did it feel risky? Or does the risk not matter? Because
it doesn't matter.
Because
no, it doesn't.
Like,
I know. I was gonna say, I'm like, is that wrong? I mean, it doesn't really matter. I have so much belief and confidence in what we're doing with Ignite that when I handed over my share of the investment, there was zero. I was like, here you go, take it. Like I had no doubt in my mind. Now our lifestyle looks a little bit different. That sacrifice, I will say, and like God bless my family because our life has changed a lot. We don't have that flexibility and freedom to just do whatever we want whenever we want. Mom sometimes needs to be here but I've built a really healthy boundary and relationship with business with my kids at such a young age that they understand and they get it. And I've also learned healthy relationship ways of I can have a family and a successful business. I don't have to be the mom that's gone all the time. I can still be there. And so I'm grateful for that.
Well, and so I'm a daughter of an entrepreneur and a granddaughter of an entrepreneur. So I've grown up around business and I'm married to an entrepreneur. And because of all of those experiences as a kid, our lifestyle now makes so much sense to me.
Totally.
You know, and it's because you're used to it. So you raising the boys from that, like this wouldn't be that much different. It looks different, but there's still boundaries and things that are in place and they get to see what the rewards are for being in business for yourself.
And I involve them and I explain to them, like they understand. And even when I was in network marketing, when mom was on her phone, she was working and I wasn't working just randomly on the couch. Like if I was here working, they knew like, oh, mom's in that spot on her phone, like she's working right now, you know? And so when I decided that I was going to go full-time with Body, because at first, obviously, it's a part-time thing. It's like, ooh, I'm making a little extra income. And I was like, holy I'm making more than I was at my job. Like, I could really do this full-time. And that's where that, like you had said, you'd grown up with entrepreneurs. So you knew what you wanted your life to look like as an entrepreneur. My mom worked around the clock, right? She was a single mom. My dad had zero support, is not in my life. And we lived like welfare and food stamps and food banks, and I couldn't afford nice things. And so mom being gone all the time, when I went full time with Body, that was my drive. I was like, I will not be the mom that's not present. It's not going to happen. I refuse. I don't want that for my kids. If there was anything in my childhood that I wish I would have had, it was time with my mom, quality time. We never had that. And it has affected our relationship today. So
well, and
that was huge for me.
And that pressure that your mom must have felt.
Totally.
Like, not, you know, she had that same person at high school saying, this is what your life is like. You pick a box.
Yeah.
And then not being able to see a way out and having to work like that, and still maybe not being able to make ends meet without other support. Yeah. Like, that is such a difficult position to be in.
Yeah. And so like you, I just looked at it and that wasn't the way that my life was going to go.
Do you know what stands out to me about your story is I'm assuming that growing up in that home with your mom, that there were things that you didn't get to do that other kids got to do. Mm-hmm. And what stands out for me is you get to dance now whenever you want. Mm-hmm. And I think that's incredible that there's this piece from your childhood that you loved and you danced as a kid that now you still get to do. It to me, it feels a bit like you're reclaiming parts of that
100% past. Reclaiming. Totally. That's I have goosebumps.
And when I see you in that picture in your tutu, I'm like, yes, you're taking back what was lost.
Yes, 1,000%. And I was the child that was like told, like, you're too much, calm down. Oh my gosh, like scale back, so much energy. That's silly. Like, you know, I would come up. I remember being like, I want to be the next like Rosie O'Donnell. Like I wanted to be a talk show host where I interviewed great people. It wasn't about me being on the camera, because I actually don't like the spotlight, by the way. Like I don't like when people have I don't like having attention on me. I would rather not be that person. I'd rather be giving you the attention and like hyping you up and asking you the questions. And so I just, my whole life it was like, that's silly. Can't do that. There's already a Rosie O'Donnell. Like, there's already a Christina Aguilera out there. There's already that person. You can't do that. That's silly. That's not a career. And it's like, I don't know. Now that I'm older, I'm like, who am I? Like, I'm gonna be 40 and I'll be whoever I want to be. You know. Yeah. So,
it's reclaiming those dreams.
Be her again when I was told not to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love that part. It like honestly makes me feel like tearing up thinking about how you've been able to walk that out.
Mm-hmm. I actually have a picture of me as a little girl in my office that I see every single day, just to remind myself, because sometimes, I mean, like anything, any personal growth journey or anything, we lose ourselves sometimes, we forget sometimes, or we need to be reminded of a bigger purpose. Or
so the picture of young Shay is a reminder to you to say, look where I came from.
Yeah,
we're doing this.
We're okay. You're safe.
You're safe.
You don't have to be worried. Money will come. Success will come. Love is here. Like,
all the messages.
You don't have to be scared anymore. Yeah.
All the messages that maybe you didn't hear when you were little, you know now.
Yeah. And I get to be myself and have the things. That's the best part. Yes. For so long, in all my relationships before Ty, they were so toxic. They were so wrong. They were so misled. But I look back, and again, this is me taking the ownership. It takes two to tango, but like, I was never me. I was never myself. I would adapt to whoever they needed me to be. Wonder they didn't work out, or they became toxic, or hurt was happened, or what had happened. But yeah, because Ty, when I met him, I started this journey of like,
You had already
really
started.
rediscovering myself, you know.
Yeah.
He was at the beginning of all that with me when I just started all of that. So he's walked through, love you, babe. He's like walked through all the very many layers of Shayla and unpeeled them back with me, and just like, yeah. And I mean, goes to say he's on his own journey too, but yeah.
It seems like he's a really great, solid support for you.
People say that there's some people that come in that is your healing relationship, and I just feel like he came in to just see me who I was. I was broken. I was a single, like I had a baby, and
Yeah.
he came in and was just like, didn't see any of those things that most people saw or how I felt about myself. He just saw this person, me as a little girl. Like he saw those little things about me, and he still says that to this day.
He saw who you really were.
Yeah.
And probably could see your potential.
I guess so.
Like, not that he's like, ooh, I'm going to marry
No,
this
for
girl.
sure, but,
She's
like-
going to make money. you
Yeah,
know,
but like there was something. I mean, I
But
in
saw
no way,
who
shape,
you
or
were
form
going to
was this
become.
woman that was like, hey, I'm the perfect candidate right now. Like I was not in a position to be settling, but it happened. And
Well, and when you have that secure relationship, it enables you to be safe, which
Totally.
enables you to be creative and take risks and do things like,
do things crazy. Like when I have ideas, hey babe, I have this idea. He's like, oh my gosh. I'm like, love you. Yeah. Just, I mean, that's who I've always been with him. I was able to just be myself. So that definitely has helped me step back into like rediscovering and rebuilding myself for sure.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Let's go back. So when you started Ignite Health, we were talking about putting in the finances and the commitment and the sacrifice for doing that, for starting a brick and mortar business. And one of the things that comes to mind when I think about that is because you built your wealth from nothing when you started your business on network marketing, because you started with nothing, that investment into Ignite Health, does that feel like, do you feel the cost of that because you earned it, or does it, or because you said it was easy, like here's the money, we're doing this, but you worked for that money.
Yes.
Like you earned that. That was the fruit of 10 years of labor. Well, I don't know. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how much of what you put in, but I'm curious, how come that was easy for you? How come you worked hard for that money and you came from nothing? Okay. So sometimes when people come from nothing, they hold on so tight
Yes.
because they don't want to be poor, or they don't want to be in that experience. But here you are, coming from nothing, building wealth, having the life that you want, and now you're taking a significant amount of finances that you've worked for, and you're putting it into this business that you do not know how it's going to work out.
Yeah. That's a great question. So I feel like because I had previous business experience before opening Ignite, I know that when you invest in something, it only grows. It grows. Like I knew that putting that in, I mean, of course there is the risk of it not happening, but I wouldn't have put money into something that I didn't wholeheartedly believe in, that it was going to work out.
Right.
I would figure out a way for it to work out no matter what. But I feel like with putting that in, and by all means, were we not in a financial place to be like, here's a bunch of money that we just have laying around. I mean, I was mentally unwell for 2 years. So our income had already got cut back, right? And so when we made that decision to invest in Ignite, we knew that it was going to pay off in the long run. We knew that when we did it, it was the right decision. Now, Ty and I also come from very different backgrounds, but we've also had to go through a lot of financial healing ourselves. Like I come again from a family that comes from nothing. And so my actual problems when we first had met, and again, these are things we've all worked through, him and I together, is I spent before it was gone.
Like,
it's not going to be here forever.
now.
We got to spend it now. We got to spend it now, and whatever, right? And so taking a lot of our lessons that we've both learned growing together as a married couple, like we knew that putting that money there was the right decision. We knew. Instead of it just being in the savings. We knew that putting it in there was a smart decision, and it would pay off in the long run.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I heard somebody say, and I can't remember who it was, but they were talking about businesses, and they essentially said it's just a matter of longevity. Like, how many times can you just keep it alive until it starts to pay off?
Yeah.
And in our family, we always liken it to the Monopoly game, because all my kids love to play games. Well, all but one. And so we talk about, we just need to make it around the board again.
Yeah.
Yes. Right? Like, we just got to get that
100%.
$200. We just got to make it around the board again, because eventually all of the work that we've done is going to start paying off. If we can just make it around the board again, we're going to be okay.
That. I'm going to take that.
Yeah.
Start using that analogy with my family. We got to get past go again. We're here.
But it speaks to this idea that you got to keep going. And sometimes with entrepreneurship, you just can't quit. And I always think, well, what if my breakthrough is right around the corner? Like, what if it's tomorrow?
Yeah. Things were feeling difficult, and it was in that moment that we felt we were in a fork in the road of like, what are we going to do here? And we sat on it for a while. Like, it was an easy, here, take the investment when we had the decision made, but we obviously didn't do it overnight. It was something we really thought about, and we were thinking about our future, and our kids are getting older, and I was like, man, this is only going to benefit us when we're older. This isn't the only business I want to venture into around here, you know? And so I feel like it was like almost like an exciting starting point again for us. Let's make this, it was like a new business adventure. It was, and again, with network marketing, the investment was nothing. I bought myself a health and fitness program.
Yeah.
That was my investment. It was nothing. So this was like significantly different. Yeah. And I knew that I wasn't going to see it in return right away, such as business goes. And so I like new, and I felt like it was the perfect opportunity in that moment of our life of like, so what path we taking? Are we getting into a local business? Are we really going to do this? We're going to open a business in Cranbrook. And it was like, I would say F yeah moments of like, we were so excited. So it was a no brainer almost.
Sometimes for myself, when I've made decisions like that, it does not matter what the evidence looks like. I have this like weight in my gut.
Yep.
I don't know if that's exactly it, but it's like I can't not do it.
You can't ignore it.
Yeah. It just the longer I sit, the more intense it gets, and it's like a driving force for me. And I'm like, oh, this is what we're doing. Yeah. And sometimes I have to wait for my husband to catch up.
Yes.
I know, and he doesn't know yet. But that goes, but the piece about that, because I often know beforehand, I really have had to work on timing.
Same.
So,
patience.
Yeah, because I can see it coming before it comes. So I have to wait.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's waiting for my husband to also know and be like, yeah, this is the way we're going. And I've been thankful that he's like that, because it helps to keep me in time.
Yes.
Because I want to, like, if I know what I'm doing, I'm like, let's go.
Yeah, Tyler's
now.
very much like that too. He's the realist of like, well, okay, that's great. Let's put that in our back pockets. I'm like, you wait. And then, of course, eventually, I'm like you. I have this, it's the intuition. It's a pull that's it pulls so hard that you can't ignore it. You can't. Yeah. It's not doable. You can't just put it in your back pocket. Yeah.
So where are you going from here? Who knows,
so
right?
We just talked about that poll, that something's there. It's there. It's like I've had it for months, and even when I opened up Ignite, that's not the only thing. Like that, I feel like that's the stepping stone. There is something so big waiting for me. I know that. I know it into my soul. I don't know what it is. And again, patience. I'm just letting things drop. And entrepreneurship, you got to throw noodles to see what sticks at the wall, right? Like, I'm very multifaceted. So if you guys haven't noticed yet, I don't want to have just one thing that I do. I love being I love online marketing. I love being an MC for a women's conference. I hope that one day I get to speak and maybe host my own events. Like I see that. I see a brand popping up for me, maybe I have been working on. There's just so many. I have so many ideas.
You're just getting started.
I feel like I'm just getting started, even though we've gone 11 years now. But
You're getting started, but you've got a wealth of experience that you're now drawing from.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This has been, like, I have loved this conversation. We've talked a few times, but I really love this conversation. I feel like I've gotten to know you in a better way. And you were talking about how you want to be the cheerleader on the side. And that's how I feel towards you. I am so excited to see where this goes for you, Shay. And I'm rooting for you, and I'm rooting for Ignite Health and all of those other ventures that you have that pull towards. So
stay tuned.
Yes, I'm in it.
Thank you for having me. This was amazing.